Hey, good morning, church. It occurs to me in reading today's one-year Bible reading that there are three scenarios here represented where we're to talk about the goodness of God. Number one, in Deuteronomy, Moses says, talk about the goodness of God with your family, especially to your children. Maybe for some of us it'd be to our grandchildren, but to our children. He said, when you're walking along the way, talk about it. When you're eating meal, talk about it. When you're going to bed, when you're rising up in the morning, talk about the goodness of God. Put the little needlepoint verses of Bible up there, Bible verses, and frame them and put them on your walls and put the pictures on your walls. You know, about Jesus. Be talking about it in the family. So important. Secondly, when we want to talk to ourselves about the goodness of God. When the disciples were out there in the boat and Jesus was with them and the storm came and the boat began to sink and they woke up Jesus in a panic. Don't you care that we're about to die? And Jesus calmed the storm. He looked at them and, why don't you have more faith? Well, why don't we have more faith? And Jesus is in our boat. Well, what do we have to be afraid of? Jesus is going to keep our boat afloat as long as we're destined to live. And even if it sinks, we go join Davy Jones at the bottom of the sea, Jesus is still with us and we get to go to paradise. It's a win-win situation when Jesus is in your boat. We need to talk to ourselves, tell ourselves about the goodness of God. Oh yeah, Jesus is in my boat. I'm okay. I don't have to be anxious. I don't have to worry. And then the third scenario, when we want to talk about the goodness of God, is in our sphere of influence, to our neighbors, to our friends, to our co-workers, our fellow students. Because Jesus cast the demons out of this demon-possessed man. He had a legion, he had a couple thousand demons in him, and Jesus cast all these demons out. And now that the man is healed and he's whole and he's in his right mind, he said, hey, can I follow you? Can I get in the boat and go with you and the disciples wherever you're going? Jesus said, no. No, you need to go home and tell everybody in your hometown here, in this area, what the Lord has done for you. You know what's interesting is that the people of that area, when they found out what Jesus did and the casting out of the demons, and the demons went into the herd of pigs and the pigs drowned themselves in the water, you know, first historical reference to deviled ham. Anyway, after that happened, the townspeople in that area, they asked Jesus to go away. They were afraid. They didn't want Jesus. So he went away. But he left that man. And for the next few months, that man, he traveled around the Decapolis, which means the 10 cities, the area where he lived, telling what the Lord had done for him and how good God was. The next time Jesus came to that area, the people were receptive. They didn't ask him to go away. They said, stay here. And he was able to do good work there. Why? Because of the testimony of that man who didn't get to go with Jesus. He stayed home and talked to his family, his friends, his sphere of influence, and he prepared the way. A lot of us just timing. When we're telling people about the goodness of God, sometimes people respond, sometimes they don't. It's all timing. We just plant the seed. Somebody else may water it. God's going to make it grow. There will be a harvest. We trust in that. So we want to talk about the goodness of God to our kids, our family. We want to talk about it to ourselves, in our self-talk, and in our sphere of influence. Be talky-talky. Be a good talky-talk. Do good talky-talk for God, for Jesus. That's what I'm going to try to do today. Perhaps you will as well. God loves you. So do I.